everyone. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. Today we will talk about internship opportunities at the International Atomic Energy Agency. My name is Sophie Massé. I'm an Associate Talent Acquisition Officer within the IAEA. You don't see me on the slides of the panelists because today we will give the voice to our interns actually. So I'll hand over right away to Dalia.
Hi everyone, my name is Dalia and I'm an intern in the Human Resources Department with the Recruitment Unit, primarily focusing on sourcing and outreach. And with me today we have Deandra.
So I'm Deandra, I'm interning at the Nuclear Energy, specifically in Pro section, and I'm focusing on proliferation resistance.
I'm Bianca. I am at the Nuclear Medicine and Diagnostic Imaging section of the agency, and I work primarily with establishing partnerships and procurement projects.
Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer Avellaneda. I'm an intern at the Technical Cooperation Program for the Division of Latin America and the Caribbean.
Hello, my name is Coralie, and I'm an intern in Incident Emergency Center under the Nuclear Safety and Security Department.
Hey there, I'm Bryce. I'm in the Business Solutions section, the software development wing of the agency inside the IT department.
Great, thank you so much. So before we dive into what our interns are doing and how they came to the agency, I'll quickly give you an overview of the agenda, and then Dalia and myself will give you a quick overview also of the agency. So as you can see, overview of the agency, then we will dive into the internship requirements actually, and also meet our interns, so they will tell us a little bit more about themselves. We will also tell you about Vienna as an intern organization and what the application process is like. Finally, Dalia and myself will give you an update again on how to stay informed, and we will open the Q&A. Just to let you know, we will take Q&A at the end. You can already ask your questions through the chat, but we will not answer them during the presentation, but afterwards you will ask your questions through the chat, and then we will take 2 to 3 questions at a time, read them out loud, and then try to give you the best answer possible. All right, so let's start.
All right, so beginning with just giving you an overall overview of the IAEA, as some of you already know, Yukiya Amano is our Director General, and as he summarized quite nicely, the overall mandate of the agency is Atoms for Peace and Development. So what does this mean? It means that the IAEA is an independent, intergovernmental, science and technology-based organization in the United Nations family that serves as the global focal point for nuclear cooperation. The organization assists its member states in the context of social and economic goals, in planning for and using nuclear science and technology for various peaceful purposes, including the generation of electricity, and facilitates the transfer of such technology and knowledge in a sustainable manner to developing member states. The agency also develops nuclear safety standards, and based on these standards, promotes the achievement and maintenance of high levels of safety in applications of nuclear energy, as well as the protection of human health and the environment against ionizing radiation. Finally, it verifies through its inspection system that states comply with their commitments under the Non-Proliferation Treaty and other non-proliferation agreements to use nuclear material and facilitates only for peaceful purposes. All right, now let's look into the different departments at the IAEA and give you a quick overview. Again, we have a dedicated webinar on this topic online, so we will not spend too much time on it today, but just give you a brief overview. So in total, we have 6 departments. We have the Department of Management, which consists of 5 divisions: the Division of Human Resources, Budget and Finance, General Services, Conference and Document Services, and the Division of Information Technology. As you can imagine, all of these different divisions look for a variety of different professional profiles, and the IAEA offers employment opportunities in many different areas. We look for professionals from multiple academic backgrounds. Then we have the Department of Technical Cooperation. The Department of Technical Cooperation's goal is to promote tangible socioeconomic impact by contributing directly to the major sustainable development priorities of member states. Its programs include training courses, expert missions, fellowships, scientific visits, and equipment transfer, aimed at building human capacity and providing necessary equipment in order to establish the basis for sustainable use of nuclear technology. Then we have the Department of Nuclear Energy. This department fosters the efficient and safe use of nuclear power by supporting existing and new nuclear programs around the world, catalyzing innovation and building indigenous capability in energy planning, analysis, and nuclear information and knowledge. Usually, candidates for this department hold a PhD or equivalent combination of advanced university degree and advanced research in nuclear-related discipline. Next, we have the Department of Nuclear Science and Application. As a very diverse department, the Department of Nuclear Sciences and Application cuts across a number of important socioeconomic sectors, from health, food and agriculture to the environment, water resources, and industry. In each thematic area, the agency scientists work together with experts in member states to help meet their development needs through nuclear science, technology, and innovation. The IAEA provides member states with scientific advice, education, and training, technical documents, access to key nuclear data, as well as meetings, conferences, and symposia. The department works with member states to advance nuclear science and technology and improve awareness about its wide range of applications. Then we have the Department of Nuclear Safety and Security. The goal of the Department of Nuclear Safety and Security is to review, evaluate, and appraise services provided by the agency to its member states upon their request. For nuclear safety, professionals in this department provide the means of applying the IAEA safety standards. Hence, the scope of the services is directly related to the areas addressed by the safety standards. Then we have the Department of Safeguards. IAEA safeguards make a vital contribution to international peace and security. Through safeguards, the IAEA is able to provide credible assurances that states are honoring their international obligations to use nuclear material only for peaceful purposes. Preventing the spread of nuclear weapons is a complex task. Over 70 years after the destructive power of nuclear weapons was first demonstrated, a number of international political and legal mechanisms have been put in place to help achieve nuclear non-proliferation objectives. These include IAEA safeguards, and the objective of IAEA safeguards is to deter the spread of nuclear weapons by early detection of misuse of nuclear material and technology, thereby providing credible assurances that states are honoring their legal obligations. Finally, we have the Director General's Office for Coordination. The Director General's Office for Coordination has various offices who report to it. They are in charge of carrying out strategic and policy planning and coordinate policies for all areas of the IAEA's program. And they are also responsible for maintaining effective relations and communications with member states, other UN bodies, international organizations, and civil society. So as you can see, we have many different opportunities for various professional backgrounds. Now let's move on to the types of employment. There are multiple types of employment. First, we have professional posts. Professional staff members of the IAEA are experts in their fields who carry out the functions of the agency through two different means. First, they contribute as individual experts. Second, they organize input from experts to deal with specific tasks, such as preparing standards. The IAEA professional staff work in international and multidisciplinary teams. The skills needed by professional staff are usually very specific to the nature of the agency's work. Then we have the junior professional officers. This program is designed for young professionals who are below the age of 32 and are nationals of a member state that currently has a JPO agreement with the agency. This includes Austria, Canada, China, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Norway, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, and the United States of America. Candidates must hold an advanced university degree in one of the following fields: engineering, physics, chemistry, biology, hydrology, agriculture, nutrition, medicine, computer science, information sciences, accounting, finance, human resource management, law, library science, and communication.
And sorry, Dalia, just to add on this, these are only some of the fields. Of course, these are one of the major fields that JPOs are recruited from, but depending on the individual need of the member states, of course, other profiles might be looked at as well. Thank you.
And the next one we have are experts and specialists. They're known as consultants. The agency frequently engages consultants and experts under individual contracts, temporary staff assignments or consultancies, to work on short-term projects. The functions of consultants and experts are results-oriented and usually assist in the delivery of specific IAEA programmatic activities. Then we have the administrative support. This is done through recruiting locally. General service staff members provide support in the administrative, technical, and scientific areas. The recruitment for all general service posts is on a local basis only, and candidates must legally reside in Austria at the time of their application for Vienna-based positions. General service staff include accountants, human resource specialists, computer experts, procurement specialists, lawyers, translators, editors, project managers, and librarians. Then we have the fellowships and scientific visits. This is done through the IAEA's Technical Cooperation Program, which they provide professionals with an opportunity to gain practical international work experience in nuclear technology and applications or in technical cooperation. Applications for these positions must be submitted to the IAEA through governmental channels. Now we'll primarily focus our presentation today on internships. During this presentation, we will focus on applications for internship opportunities. Our goal is to increase the visibility of our internship opportunities to potential applicants like you across the globe. The agency's internship program is designed for students and recent graduates. It provides people studying towards a university degree or who have recently received a degree with the opportunity to gain practical work experience in line with their studies or interests, and to expose them to the work of the agency and the United Nations. At the same time, it benefits the IAEA and its programmatic work to obtain the assistance of qualified students specialized in various professional fields.
Great, thank you, Dalia. Before we move on to the internship requirements, just a little bit about our staff composition in general. So the vast majority of our staff is located at our headquarters in Vienna, Austria, where we are also based at the moment. There are 170 member states, and we aim at increasing the diversity of representation in terms of region, member states, and gender. In addition to Vienna as our headquarter duty station, we have offices in Monaco, in Cybersdorf, in Tokyo, Toronto, and liaison offices in Geneva and New York. In addition, as you can see, we have a breakdown of male and female. The IAEA has also taken steps to increase the representation of women participants at conferences, seminars, workshops, or to be staff members or interns to promote the involvement of women scientists in coordinated research and technical cooperation projects. Currently, for example, at the professional level, 30% of the staff members are females, and at the general service level, 62% are females. Now, let's move on a little bit to the internship requirements before Dalia will continue on with the internship field. As you can see from the slide, the IAEA has a number of requirements that need to be met in order to apply or to be eligible for an internship. The IAEA accepts a limited number of interns each year, and to be considered for an internship, you must have at least 20 years of age and have completed at least 3 years of full-time studies at the university or equivalent institutions towards the completion of your first degree. If you have already finished your degree, you may apply up to 1 year after completion of your bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree. All applicants must have working knowledge of English. An internship offer will be usually between 3 and maximum 12 months. Now, moving on to internship fields.
Thank you, Sophie. Here you can see an overview of all the fields the agency offers internships in. Interns are selected from candidates whose study disciplines are relevant to the agency's work in the following fields: natural science, engineering, information technology, social sciences and humanities, and administration and management. We won't go over all the specific fields, however, you can take a different look at that in our IAEA website. Now we will leave the floor to my fellow interns that came today. They will tell you more about their experience working for the agency and answer the following questions. How does your work help the agency for its path towards atoms for peace and development, and how does this position at the IAEA fit within your career plans? So we'll begin with Bianca.
Welcome, Bianca.
Hi everyone. First of all, thanks for tuning in. Allow me to introduce myself further. My name is Bianca Ruiz. I'm from the Philippines. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in International Studies, major in European Studies at the De La Salle University in Manila. I am currently an intern at the Nuclear Medicine and Diagnostic Imaging section, and I speak English and Filipino. So, Sophie, with regards to your first question, how does my work help with Atoms for Peace and Development? First, I want to explain first exactly what Atoms for Peace and Development is for me. So, Atoms for Peace and Development is the overall mission of the agency, and I believe that it signifies that the agency is working towards improving the different sectors among its member states, most especially its developing countries, specifically the health, agricultural, food, water industry sectors. And since I am at the Nuclear Medicine and Diagnostic Imaging section of the IAEA, I focus primarily on the health sector. So what I do specifically, as I mentioned a while ago, I help in establishing various partnerships and procurement projects with institutions all over the world. And I also co-write and copy-edit official IAEA publications, most especially educational material that would be integrated into the curriculum of future nuclear medicine physicians. And by that, I believe that I am furthering the Athens for Peace and Development mission of the agency by somehow contributing to the improvement of the health sectors of the member states of the IAEA. And well, for me, that's one of the good things about the internships here at the agency, because, you know, as an intern, you're not required to like wait by coffee machines and give coffee to your bosses. It's nothing like that, right? But then the work that you get here at the agency, it's already very relevant global work. And I realized personally that I'm only 21 years old, and it makes me feel good working here because I believe and I feel that I'm already contributing significantly to the world. And with regards to your second question, I have been working and studying towards working at an international organization for about 4 years now. And working here at the agency, well, it's a United Nations specialized agency, I am constantly exposed to the multicultural and professional environment, and somehow that makes me develop certain skills, certain attributes, and certain behaviors that I need to pursue my passion and to pursue my dream in working at an international organization. Because, you know, we can all agree that the United Nations is a really, really big organization, and it makes us grow not just as professionals but also as people. We develop certain behaviors and values and principles that we cannot only develop if we are just at our home countries. We need to expose ourselves to different people and different behaviors from all over the world. And that's another thing that I love about working here as an intern at the United Nations. You realize a lot of things about yourself that you never thought you could do. You learn that you have different capacities and capabilities as a person and as a professional. And personally, for me, I've only been here for 3 months, but I believe that I've learned, and I believe that I've grown in these 3 months as opposed to the 21 years that I've spent in the Philippines. And that's why I believe that everybody should, I mean, not really everybody, but then if you're interested, you should apply for an internship here at the agency because you grow.
That's really great to hear. Thank you so much for these intels, Bianca. That's great, and I hope our listeners are appreciative as well of you answering the 2 questions we have asked you at the beginning. Moving on now to Jennifer. Welcome to this table. Same sort of questions to you, if you could a little bit elaborate for our listeners today, for maybe prospective applicants, what it's like.
Thank you very much. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Avellaneda. I'm from Mexico City, raised and born. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Sustainable Development Engineering, just got graduated this past May, so I'm pretty new in this professional life. I'm an intern at the Technical Cooperation Program for Latin America and the Caribbean, just started in October, and believe me, as my colleague Bianca just said before, your job is not only to bring coffee, you're actually treated as a professional. I speak Spanish, English, and French, which is like an asset for being here. I can communicate with almost everyone, practice a lot of my languages, and I'm learning German, so cross fingers for me. And regarding the first question, how does my work help the agency for the path of the Athens for Peace and Development? As I told you before, I'm working as an intern here, very new, and one of my main duties is to help through the design, development, and implementation of different projects for national, regional, and interregional address. And for their strategical priorities regarding the member states or the region in order to keep growing in a socio-economical way, while making a peaceful use of nuclear technology. So this type of projects may include food and agriculture, nuclear safety, as well as, I don't know, animals, human health. I mean, each project is really strategic, and that depends on the country in which it's being implemented. So it's been a lot of work, actually. I've been learning a lot since I started here, and I love to being involved in every kind of project like that and seeing a country growing up and being involved with nuclear technology and not being afraid, you know, because part of being working here is also to communicate the right idea of nuclear technology and nuclear applications. It's not only for bombs or for ground ideas, you know. So it's also for human health and for the development of a better world. And also for the second question regarding my position and my career plans. Well, as a sustainable development engineer with, of course, an international relations heart, I believe that a huge things could be accomplished with a good cooperation and mutual development between countries. Therefore, with this opportunity, I'm having a better and more clear view that what could be done to change each country and also the world. So here you can also identify that each country is pretty different. You have a better idea of what it's like to being an international agency, being working with all the strategic plans and national plans of each member state. So it's really important to get better for the world in order to fulfill people's priorities without compromising future generations. So thank you very much again for joining, and hope you apply for an internship because it will be the best experience of your life.
That's very great to hear, Jennifer. Moving on now to Bryce. Can you tell us a little bit more about your path?
Oh, sure, of course I have. Hello, my name is Bryce. I took a bit of a long and winding path to get here. I actually left primary school without graduating. I left high school a year and a half before graduation and went to a public university based primarily on my test scores. I graduated with a degree in molecular biology and psychology into that thing called the Great Recession. So that didn't go very far. I took odd jobs for a little while, research writing, some other just things with my family, and then went back to school and retrained in computer science. While I was finishing up my computer science degree, I got first an internship at Argonne National Laboratory with the IAEA program office there, and then continued on with them after graduation. About a year after that, I went and applied competitively to one of the IAEA's internships, and here I am today. So right now I work in the business solutions section. Poor name, but we do software development. It's part of the IAEA's IT division. We support workers across the agency by producing software that addresses specific challenges they can't buy off-the-shelf solutions for. These might be business or HR applications, programs needed by technical cooperation as part of educational outreach or coordination, or tools used to support scientific work in nuclear applications and other technical departments. So for instance, the new Country Files app, this is a big one inside the agency, exposes internal databases of unclassified information on all the member states of the agency to all employees in an easily digestible format. It's a great example of a tool produced by my section that's broadly useful to people across the agency. I work for the Software Architecture Board, putting me in charge of planning and running our monthly meetings and chipping away at a backlog of both software development and many documentation tasks aimed at improving the quality and consistency of all the products that come out of our group. My job here at the IAEA fits linearly into my career trajectory. I applied to this specific post because the technologies I'd be working with and the tasks my department laid out in the posting were ambitious, but also let me the opportunity to gain meaningful resume years of experience in some of the domains of software development that I'm interested in. So far, the responsibility they've given me far exceeded my expectations. I've been able to train in a programming language I'd never touched before, then used this to produce and release an actual software product for internal use, all within a few months. I've been tasked with diving headfirst into the fields of software architecture and project management. I'm expected to take over as a project manager of an incomplete project come this December. Incidentally, I'm also one of the new event coordinators in the VIC intern organization, which gives me ample opportunities to socialize and build soft skills we'll talk about that a bit later.
Great. Thank you so much for Bryce for all this intel. And again, I guess you're not bringing coffee, but doing way many more things from what we just heard.
I bring coffee to my own
exactly.
house to help me cook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moving on now to Deandra, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and also some of
sure. So my name is Deandra and I'm from Indonesia. Just a little bit about my educational background. I actually studied communication, public relations for my undergrads, and I did intelligence and international security for my master's. But within this master's degree, I actually took a course called non-proliferation and international security, which is why I'm here, and that was my main reason why I'm here right now. That course actually focused on weapons, on the treaties, and also all the political elements of nuclear world and nuclear industry. But I got to attend many conferences, and I grew my professional network, long story short, I'm inspired to join this internship. And so the question is, what a communication and political science or international relation graduate do in nuclear energy department? Because if we think about nuclear energy department, it's full of scientists, full of physicists or chemists or you name it, very technical. Well, there's so many things that us as with social background can do in this department. For instance, I am working in INPRO section. It's like an innovative project for a nuclear cycle. It's very technical, but we can do a lot. And to answer Delia's question, what is my work? What my work does in this internship to help the agency for its path towards Atom for Peace. I actually, because of my educational background, my main task is on proliferation resistance. So I handle lots of, I'm developing drafts and documents focused on proliferation resistance. It's such a great learning experience because I get to meet with experts, with scientists, which I didn't get when I did my master's, because my master's focused on, a lot of political aspects. But now I feel like nuclear is more than just weapons, literally, because there's so many things you can do. And in my section as well, I help, meetings and dialogue forums for member states of the IAEA, so between technology holders and technology users and, the embarking countries and also countries that actually have advanced knowledge on nuclear technology to get together and have dialogues, and they can have transfer of knowledge, and that's sort of really fulfilling experience because you actually contribute your skills in bridging these countries towards nuclear or atoms for peace. For instance, it's such an eye-opening experience when I see people from developing countries who are interested in pursuing nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, and also countries that has the knowledge and has the means to actually help them. And that's how my work for this internship actually helps towards this goal. And also for my career, like I said before, I focused on weapons, but I feel like if I really want to go and dive into this industry, I need to know the technical aspect of nuclear technology and nuclear industry, and that is why it's great that I get to intern in nuclear energy. Also, don't be discouraged because of your social background. You can, like me, end up in nuclear energy department. There's so many things to do for us actually in this agency.
Great. Thank you so much, Deandra, for all these valuable insights. Now moving on to our next intern, Corale, if you want to give us a little bit about your views and see what you're doing here as an intern.
Hello again. My name is Corale, and I'm from Pakistan. My background is nuclear engineering, and I did my master's in nuclear and radiation safety. And with my educational background, as you can see, I was always planning to do an internship in the IAEA. So So during my master's, I just applied for the internship position, and luckily I got this internship. So I speak fluently Russian, English, and Kazakh, which is my native language, and basic Korean, since I studied my master's in Korea. So as an intern, what I do at my division, my division is the Incident Emergency Center, and here I support Incident Emergency Center staff in implementing activities regarding the recent safety requirements in emergency preparedness and response according to the IAEA Safety Standard Series, number GSR Part 7. GSR Part 7 is like the main document, like Holy Bible for us, for emergency preparedness and response. And my work was mainly like related to support the process of developing emergency preparedness and response safety-related guides and guidelines, revising documents we already had to be in consistent with GSR Part 7, and tools aimed to support GSR Part 7 implementation. For example, during my master's degree, I had a thesis in radiation protection, and I was often using the guidelines of the IAEA. And the interesting thing, when I came here, I started to work on that guidelines, and the feeling is really great, because it's like, no way, like I was on the other side of that, and now I'm working on that document for publication, and it's an amazing feeling, actually. So I was lucky to conduct and implement like trainings and workshops to train the member states on the emergency preparedness and response. So I assisted the workshops for member states on termination of the nuclear and radiological emergency, and workshops on the developing protection strategy for nuclear and radiological emergency, which were held in Vienna and Cyprus. And also I was hosting like webinars on the review of regulatory aspects of emergency preparedness and response in IRS missions, and webinar on the food safety in nuclear or radiological emergency. Additionally, I also supported the implementation of emergency simulation in Incident Emergency Center, which runs in our operational area for training the IAEA staff. During the Fukushima accident, for example, the IC operational area was working like 24 hours a day, 7 days per week for more than like 50 days. And more than 200 like IAEA staff were involved in that. And that's why for that IC constantly train the new coming staff, also the old staff for to be prepared to respond for the emergency. Like as our DG said that we have the Incident Emergency Center, which is ready to respond in a minute in case of any global international accidents. So, and the whole work I have done, I think, puts me in the best with the Atoms for Peace and Development. And my major, working in IAEA, was always a dream for me, and which became a goal. And so I took the first step toward my goal now by having my internship. So more steps, more to my goal.
That's really great. Thank you very much, Caroline, for all these insights, and all of you for all these insights. We stand ready to answer questions shortly in this regard. We have a few more slides to go. Dalia, over to you.
Yes, so we just wanted to mention that the Vienna International Center has an intern organization, and this organization is run by interns for interns. This organization has been created in order to help interns settle in the VIC and in Vienna. Through events and activities, we bring young people together from all the UN organizations in the Vienna International Center.
Great, thank you. We just thought it would be good to include a short slide about living in Vienna, because as we mentioned earlier, Vienna is our headquarter. We have a few other locations, but mostly all our internships are happening in Vienna. So the agency, as you probably know by now, is located in Vienna, the capital of Austria. And Vienna has been chosen as the best city in the world for its quality of life for 8 years in a row now. The city is well known for its classical background and extensive palaces, but did you know that Vienna is also the only capital in the world that produces its own high-quality wine in the hills surrounding the city? So, furthermore, the city turns into a lovely winter wonderland during Christmas time, which is just starting now, with a large range of Christmas markets spread out over the city. So it's a really lively city to live in, both summer and winter, quite affordable places as well, affordable living, so, and as said earlier, voted the world's best city for quality of life for 8 years in a row. Now, moving on to planning your application.
Yeah. So looking at the application process for an internship, we would like to recommend the following before you apply. Please carefully read the job description and ask yourself the questions stated on the slide. The number of applications does not affect your chances of being considered if you're not qualified for the position. You need to consider the fit of your application for the internship in question. You also need to consider the job market, the number of individuals with similar skills and profiles in the pool of applicants, since we receive applications from all over the world.
All right, and now before we sort of wrap up our webinar, just a quick slide about our current vacancies. So as you see, we have 6 internships opportunities at the moment. Sometimes there is more, sometimes there's less, but we are recruiting ongoingly in all our departments that we described earlier. So this is how the web page looks like when you apply for an internship. You can filter it, for example, by location, by job family, by job type. And what's important to know is, of course, you need to apply through our website. We do not accept any other types of applications. You need to create what we call a Taleo profile at some stage. Of course, you may be approached or you may look through various ways, but eventually you will need to apply through that website. All documents that you need, so one of the important requirements for the applications are 2 recommendation letters and a motivation letter. All these documents can be uploaded on the application portal together with your personal information and professional background.
So we have come to the end of our webinar. You can find out more about our internship opportunities in our official webpage at iaea.org/employment. You can also find out most of our positions posted online when you follow the IAEA on Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, or Twitter. We typically hold monthly webinars to help professionals like you learn about our work and our job offers. Webinars cover areas such as introducing the IAEA, recruitment process, how to prepare for an interview with the agency, and conditions of employment, benefits, and entitlements. On our employment page, you will see a link to previous webinars, which we hope will be useful to you. As of course, some of the information in these past recordings will become more and more outdated, we will repeat some of these topics in the near future in order to keep you informed about the latest developments at the IAEA. We have now come to the conclusion of this webinar and have some time to dedicate to your questions. Please use the WebEx chat function to communicate with us. Please note that we will not be able to answer all questions and are also not able to provide feedback on specific applications or vacancies. If when registering for this webinar you selected that you would like to be kept informed about our recruitment activities at the IAEA, we will add you to our mailing list and send you a monthly update on positions that may be of interest to you. In the meantime, thank you very much for your time, and we hope this webinar was useful to you and look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you very much. We'll take now a break of 2-3 minutes just to start collecting questions, and we'll be back online and via audio very shortly in 2-3 minutes. Thank you. All right, so we're getting lots of questions in. The first question will be answered by you. Bianca, can you tell us a bit more?
Okay, so this question is, what can political students or international relations do as an intern, and what departments can they enroll? Since we do not understand the detail about nuclear facilities. Okay, so in my case, I'm literally an international relations major, but I work at a technical department. It's the nuclear medicine and diagnostic imaging section. And honestly, like, since this is an international organization, you do a range of different things. That's why, as explained by, I think, either Dahlia or Sophie a while ago, the IAEA is actually looking for students from the social sciences and humanities. And well, I couldn't speak for all departments, but then at least in my department, the Nuclear Sciences and Applications department, we're very much involved with international projects, and this entails a lot of international networking and international project planning, which is very much in line with what we international relations and political science students do and have studied for and have worked for on a daily basis while we were studying. So don't be discouraged if you don't know anything about nuclear facilities and whatnot, because the IAEA is very open to accepting people of different professional and educational backgrounds. So yeah.
Thank you, Bianca, for the
that quickly. So I was also, my background was in intelligence, so international security. And like I mentioned, I'm interning in Department of Nuclear Energy, specifically in innovative project for, international projects on nuclear reactors and innovative nuclear reactors and fuel cycles. So I can, it sounds very technical and very, like, you know, scientific or science-oriented, but I deal with meetings. I'm helping my section to host dialogue forums. I'm also developing drafts and publications, and our knowledge, I believe, as an international relations student, will be needed at some point in this process. So yeah, I just want to encourage you who have political background or international relations to apply anyway. Yeah. Because there will always things to do.
Absolutely, no, definitely. One other question we have is, what is an intern's typical workday like?
That's interesting.
Yes, who wants to start? Maybe Bryce or?
Well, as I said, it always includes plenty of coffee.
For yourself, not for your boss.
Yeah. Well, my boss also likes coffee.
Oh, yeah.
We get it together. So. Well, actually, interestingly enough, so my background in communication and writing is also very helpful for me, even working in what you would think would be a very technical department. In software development, I probably spend about a third of my average day doing some form of writing or being involved in meetings. About a third of my day coding, maybe a third of my day staring at the window and looking at Vienna's beautiful skyline. Yeah.
Anything more to add in terms of what a typical workday looks like? Or, I mean, you've already given plenty of insights, but anything?
Well, maybe as a part of my day, I'm working currently with a national and regional project. So this involves a member states meeting almost every day with their presidents or vice presidents or ministers as well. So I'm not only there to put water, because yeah, that's not even in my hands, but I'm there also to, you know, take notes, prepare a brief preamble of what we are doing within their countries regarding the project. So as for me, and at the Technical Cooperation Program, I'm really involved in projects, you know, financially or during within their development, their requirements, implementation. So yeah, it's a really hard work that also includes liters and liters of coffee.
Thank you, Bryce and Jennifer. Just before Dahlia answers the next question, I just saw another question about someone who created a profile in 2013. They're not really sure to find it anymore. The general sense, I would say, try to keep your profile updated, even if you find your profile back from 2013. I'm sure you've done lots of things until now, 2018, so it's very good to update it. We have migrated system at some stage around 2014, 2015, so if unfortunately you don't find your profile anymore or it's not completed, we would encourage you just to recreate a new Taleo profile to be then able to apply to our internship vacancies.
And we have another question here that says, I need a resident visa as my internship is going to be 6 months. Will HR help in getting an entry and resident visa? So depending on your nationality of your passport, you will need to get a visa D regardless in order to enter into Austria. If your internship is less than 6 months, that is the only requirement for you to obtain residency. If your internship is longer than 6 months, you will additionally need to get a legitimation card. So HR will contact you in reference to all of the paperwork that is required, but if it is more than 6 months, you will have to obtain the legitimation card and communicate with the Visa and Customs Unit Department as well.
Exactly. We will just go back a little bit on mute to collect a few more questions, and we'll be back with the sound in about 1 minute. All right, so we have a few more questions that rolled in. One of it is, what are the challenges of being an intern at the IAEA? Who wants to start off?
Deandra.
Hi, Raisa, my friend. So actually, challenges, it really depends. For instance, for my case, you can have lots of meeting in a week, and then I have other colleagues who are also an intern. Probably just communicating our tasks with other interns, that would be another way, because this is, again, we work with different culture and different countries, and that we have our own way to work. And then that's not, I don't think it's a main challenge, but it is something that I should consider. We work with people with diverse backgrounds and things like that. And also, probably, for instance, like a very technical one, when you're taking notes in a big meeting, not everyone is easily to understand. For instance, in my case, there's so many technical terms that at the beginning of my internship, I missed when I was making reports. But along the way, you will learn and you will get the hang of it at some point.
Yeah. So for me, the main challenge that I face, because in my situation, I've never worked for an international organization before. This is my first internship with the United Nations, actually. And as I've mentioned a while ago, the kind of work that we do is already very global. It's very wide scale. So I remember 3 months ago coming in here, they already asked me to do background checks on 3 different institutions and write about it. And so that's exactly what I did. And then I found out later on that they didn't even edit it, they just sent it directly to the Office of Legal Affairs, and I was just like, what? But then, I don't trust myself. So, yeah, that's one of the main challenges that I face. So how I treat it, I just be as thorough as possible, and I try to consult with my supervisors, because, the supervisors at the IAEA, they're also very busy and very, busy with their own engagements. So whenever they give interns things, we interns, we always make sure that we consult about these things with their supervisors, because usually, well, not usually, but always, they give you these big tasks and projects that they entirely trust you with. So yeah, that's a main challenge that I face, but it's easy to resolve.
I agree with Bianca, actually, because with my supervisor, in my case, I was also developing myself training materials for the workshops for member states. And the challenge is that you're like, oh my God, I'm an intern, but I really do the work actually for as my supervisor do. So we just divide the agenda, and we divide between us. She takes some stuff and say, like, I will do presentation on this, and you do on this. So I take the document, I actually work on it, and then I prepare my own presentations, and then when you see it, like, during the workshops, and they, like, lecturers use it, and you feel like, oh my God, it's like, I did that, and she's, like, super fine with that, and it's, like, real work, it's not just internship, so the major challenge, I think, is that you should actually believe yourself, trust yourself that you can really do that. Yeah, you're not like, you're really doing like good. So just be,
That's why when you see us interns, we're usually very stressed and drunk and coffee, because we have large scale work such as those.
Yeah. Great. I also see here a question about, is it possible to continue working at the IAEA after finishing an internship? Yes, indeed it is. There are different rules and regulations that apply. For full competitive processes, interns can apply. Of course, they have to meet the minimum criteria that are always stated in the vacancies. So, for example, for a professional post, for example, for a P3, there's a minimum working experience of 5 years required. If the interns meet these and in the specific fields and in the relevance, then of course they are encouraged to apply and to start also working after the internship for the IAEA. For non-competitive processes, it is a little bit different. In general, in terms of the requirements for our positions, we also have a webinar in this regard, just about detailing the recruitment process, the requirements, the different departments. And I also saw a question about the Office of Legal Affairs and internships there. In this webinar, unfortunately, you will not be able to talk about each and every intern possibility that we have. But if you want to find out more about the Office of Legal Affairs, I would encourage you to check out our website, where there is a lot of information already, and also to have a look at our detailed webinars about department, where we dissect each and every department and the opportunities that exist. We will take another quick 1-minute break to see a bit through all the questions we get through, and then come back to you. All right, Bryce is going to answer our next question.
A question about my age. Okay. I am 30 years old, so I have, again, had a long and winding path. And there was someone else who mentioned they were 36. And no, you indeed are not too old for an IAEA internship, as long as you meet the other requirements. Although I am one of the older people in the IAEA internship program, I do know someone who works for the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs, UNOSA, and she has children that are the same age as many of our interns.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, UNOSA, they might have other internship requirements than IAEA, just to mention, but indeed the age is not a limitation in this regard.
However, the age is a limitation for JPO positions.
Yes,
you need
absolutely.
to be under 32 years old.
And also what we mentioned earlier, maybe we can put up back the slide about the requirements. You have to be minimum age 20 years on the other side. There is no limit in terms of maximum, but the minimum is 20 years. All right, let's see if there's a couple more questions coming. Sorry, we have a couple of questions here. I've seen the Q&A about what's the minimum age, also someone who's completed the coursework for 3 years. So that's why we put up back the internship requirements, just to be clear again about these. So you have to be at least 20 years of age. You have to have completed at least 3 years of full-time studies at a university or equivalent institution, and you may apply up to 1 year after the completion of either your bachelor or your master's or your doctoral degree. So for someone who had more than 1 year, it becomes a bit more trickier because that doesn't comply with the internship requirements that the IAEA has. Of course, we also have the language. You must have knowledge of English, and yeah, in general, our internships are between 3 to 12 months. I think we're coming to the end of our webinar at the moment. So I'm thanking all the interns again for all their valuable insights. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope that was very useful also for all the participants that we have. We couldn't go through all of the questions, but we will put up the webinar in a couple of weeks on our website, so you're more than welcome to look at it again or to share it with any friends that may be also interested in internships at the IAEA. And we also encourage you to sign up to our newsletter. You will also be signed up if you ticked yes during the registration. So you'll get an update about the upcoming webinars that we have as well, about sometimes particular departments. If you're interested, for example, in TC or safeguards, we will have webinars up on the website in this regard soon. We have one on MTIT, for example, already up there. If you're interested also in general about the recruitment process, full competitive processes, interviewing, and so on, we also have webinars there. Thank you very much again for joining us, and wishing you a good afternoon or a good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.